Mira Business FM. The sound of success.
This is Mira Business FM. It's the morning drive, and let's talk to Jeff Rhodes, Managing Director for Business Development across the Middle East and Asia at Monetary Metals. Jeff, it's I don't know, we've missed you. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has. It seemed longer, actually, Tim.
Yeah.
I was traveling in North America. I haven't been there for ages. Actually, I've never been to the West Coast before.
Right.
11 hours time difference. It is not easy. Really, it's not easy. And I spent 2 weeks not really knowing what time of day it was. And I'm back. I'm pleased to be back.
Well, welcome back, and absence makes the heart grow fonder and all that stuff, Jeff. But I feel your pain, actually. I've only been to America once, and it was the jet lag going that way rather than this way was awful.
Did you ever do 11 hours? I mean, 11 hours time difference.
No, never that much, no, but...
Yeah, I lived and worked in New York twice in the 80s, and that's not too bad. I mean, it was 5 hours between the UK, London, and New York, and that was kind of okay. But trying to do 11 hours, and the worst thing, Tim, is that you're always behind the curve. You're always behind the clock. And where we are in Dubai, honestly, I've always said it. It's the perfect location to run a global business because you touch every time zone. And I love being here and having spent, as I say, nearly 2 weeks on the west coast of North America. I'm so pleased to be back. I feel as though I've got my life back again.
Well, good to have you here. We'll talk about gold in a second. I just wanted to read you something because it occurs to me, and this is from a friend of yours, and it's from an article here over the weekend, and it's a number of people, Jeff, commenting on the government's support package as they've pumped in $1 billion dirhams to help businesses through an uncertain time. And Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman of DMCC, has said something, talking about how it's a move that strengthens Dubai's position as a global business hub. But he said something really interesting to me, and I mentioned this to our guest just now, but I think it's something that you'll maybe have a comment on. This package, talking about the whole investment package, the support package, underscores what Dubai's continued commitment, if you like, to providing a stable, enabling environment for businesses. That's fine, all true. But this is what interested me. Reinforcing its position as a natural hub, and it's that word natural that's kind of leapt out at me, a natural hub for companies looking to grow internationally. And it's kind of him saying, why would you be anywhere else? Why would you look to anywhere else? This is the place you should be. It's a real statement of confidence, I thought.
Absolutely. And I've always, Tim, when I first came to Dubai in 1997, and I was co-opted onto a gold conference, and I put up on the screen my business plan, which was simply a map of the Emirates Airlines map of the world, their routes. And I pointed out where Dubai was physically in the very middle as the hub of the world of physical gold, of north, south, east, and west. Everything meets in Dubai from a physical gold perspective. And he's spot on correct. And as I say, I think I don't believe there is a better place in the world to run a global gold business than Dubai. He's spot on, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a phrase that kind of resonated. So let's talk about gold, Jeff. It's been a while since we've seen you. Last week, Gold between about 4,500, 47.50 US dollars a troy ounce.
Yeah.
Week before that, and I'm going to go back a couple of weeks because it's been a while since we've seen you. So let's look back to March, 23rd of March onwards. Gold extending the biggest weekly loss in 83 years, a fresh 4-month low at one point. And from then on, I thought we could adapt our steady Eddie phrase to an unsteady Eddie phrase, because we've seen, it's been volatility, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, not true. The sell-off was relentless, there's no doubt. But it hit a very important point, 4,100, a key level of technical support. Right. And from there, it's kind of worked its way steadily higher. Just to put something into context, where did the selling come from? Well, we now know that it's reported that the Central Bank of Turkey sold 120 tons of gold, a lot of gold, over a 2-week period. And given that liquidation or selling of gold has performed remarkably well. What was the selling all about? I think it was just to steady the ship in Turkey. Obviously, they are big consumers of energy, of crude, and with prices going through the roof, they made that move to sell some of its gold, but the market took it. And it's up. And technically, I noted over the weekend that there is a strong probability this week of what we call a MACD, moving average convergence and divergence technical indicator, giving a buy signal. Now, when these MACD moves take place, they can be extremely significant. And so that tells me that sooner rather than later, we're going to be back above $5,000.
Okay. That's something that you pointed to. I'm just trying to look for my dates here. The last time we spoke, you felt gold was set for a rally back towards that kind of pivotal level. Yeah. That's 2 weeks ago. And it looks like that's going to be borne out then?
It does, yeah. It does. So I'm quite pleased with our performance in terms of predictions last week. Although I was in North America, I did manage to get out the weekly report, and we kind of got it spot on, to be honest with you. And for me, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because of course London and most of Europe is closed today, and some parts of Asia. So we don't really have an active market. When New York opens later, we'll see what's been the effect of last Friday. It was quite amazing. The Americans, the US, published their non-farm payrolls on Friday when gold was closed. So we haven't seen the market react to that, or the New York market react to that. I suspect there might be a little bit of a push on to test 4,600 today, but I believe it will hold. And as I say, we're about to see a technical buy signal, and that has been extremely accurate, certainly since I've been watching the MACD over the last few years. So that points to $5,000 definitely.
It's interesting. You're talking about being, on the money, and I remain unsurprised that you are on the money, Jeff, because your record is pretty good here. But one of your daily reports the week before last, it was towards the end of the week before last, you quoted the vice president, the senior metal strategist at Zena Metals, a guy called Peter Grant, will need to see some further easing of inflation concerns to start thinking about the possibility of another US rate cut at some point this year. gold could get back up to $5,000 if that were to become the case. There have been these signs for a while, people pointing to the level that you have predicted, but no more clarity on whether there are going to be any rate cuts, of course.
But it won't be rate cut. Look, at the moment, I think the rate cut is off the table. Yeah. It's quite conceivable that we get a rate hike, because there's no doubt that oil prices where they are and will have a significant impact on the rate of inflation, and we're going to see that. The latest CPI is due to be published at the end of this week, so that's going to be. There's no doubt that's going to be a strong number, but if it's temporary or not, it depends how long the conflict goes on for, Tim. So if there's an early resolution, that's fine. But I mean, the last thing we need is it for to drag on. But definitely it will have an impact on inflation. And if you have rising inflation, you can't cut interest rates. That would be foolish.
Yeah.
But it does mean we'll probably hold steady and leave rates where they are. After all, interest rates of between 3.5% and 4% are fair on both sides of the balance sheet, in my view.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff? There's kind of a conundrum at the moment, and I wonder if I'm extrapolating too much here. But why is it that defensives like Swiss equities, for example, or obviously gold, don't seem to have quite the same safe haven appeal at the moment? Or am I reading too much into this?
No, I think you are overthinking it, Tim.
Okay.
To be honest with you,
tell me the truth.
This is what we've seen. We saw a big rally in the dollar. We saw weakness in equities, and margin calls to be made where people are losing. And when you have a margin call, you liquidate the assets that are in the money. Of course, obviously, gold is very much in the money.
Yeah.
And so there has been selling. And there's no doubt one of the big drivers of investment into gold or out of gold is driven by US dollar interest rates. The higher US dollar interest rates are the more is the opportunity cost of leaving your money in gold. If you had it in dollars and dollar interest rates are going up or staying as they are, still relatively attractive, because gold in theory has a zero interest rate. And so that's been the problem, that rising inflation because of oil prices means no rate cuts, which is not good for gold. If there were rate cuts, that would be good for gold. And so that, in a nutshell, is why gold has not been rallying, and the other safe haven assets have not been rallying as much. But of course, there is some good news on the horizon, and that it is possible to gain yield from your physical gold holdings. And more about that if anyone wants to contact me, Tim.
That's always the case. I feel much more confident in the world according to Jeff Rhodes now. I've not had a chance to read your weekly report yet. I've just literally glanced through it, but I thought maybe we could run through it now. I took the headlines from the 4 days last week. Yeah. Friday obviously closed for Good Friday, but Monday gold regains a foothold back above the pivotal 4,500 level on safe haven buying. Tuesday, precious metals surged as strong buying in gold led the sector higher. Wednesday, gold extended its rally into a fourth successive day on hopes of a de-escalation in the conflict. And then on Thursday, gold and silver posted losses after President Trump's speech to the nation, but the PGMs ended on a strong note. So much of a muchness over the week.
Yeah. Look, let me follow up. You didn't get a chance. I think it's on page number 3, where I talk about the week ahead.
Yeah.
So this is what I wrote, and I did write it yesterday, so
Right.
it wasn't after the fact, but before the fact.
Okay.
However, before that, we could see. Here we go. Right. It's also worth watching the charts that are poised to flag a MACD crossover buy signal that could trigger a break above key resistance pegged at 4,800 with a price north of $5,000, the minimum target for technical traders. However, before that, we could see an early sell-off on Monday towards the 100-day moving average pegged at 4,650 in reaction to the much stronger than expected US employment report that was released on Friday. So that happened.
Yeah.
We got down towards 4,600 this morning, and it bounced back towards 4,700. But the hair is off and running. Now, our projected range for this week is 4,650 to 5,050. And I also mentioned the fact that the Central Bank of Turkey sold 120 tons over a 2-week period, a huge amount of gold, explaining the dramatic decline to 4,100. But that was more to do with blunting the impact of rising fuel costs, and is probably a one-off.
Right.
So basically, fairly bullish. For me, fairly bullish. I've nailed my colours to the mast. I think we're going back above $5,000 this week.
Well, 5,050 is kind of the golden cheese, isn't it? That's the award winner this week, I suppose.
That is. Yeah, it would be. But the markets are interesting. Silver had a good week last week. It had a sell-off on Thursday, but that was up around 4 to 5, about 5%. But the PGMs had a good week. We had platinum up 7% and palladium up 9% last week. So it's quite interesting, Tim. With the PGMs, there is a conference held every year in London in May, the London Platinum and Palladium Metals Week. And it's funny the way the prices always tend to rally ahead of that get-together. So maybe they have a bit of a glimpse into the various reports that are going to be released in May. But I think both platinum and palladium had a very good week, and they look as though they're going higher. Silver's hanging in there. I wouldn't say it's anything dramatic, but also all 4 of the precious metals have potentially a MACD crossover to the upside in their favour this week.
You certainly seem, Jeff, generally speaking, and looking, from what I can see, you're on Zoom this morning, unfortunately, but there's a level of positivity in you I'm detecting.
It's there. Yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
I wasn't, as I say, over the last couple of weeks, it's been difficult, but I kind of got some good sleep over the weekend and sort of woke up having a certain clarity of thought that hadn't been there for the last 2 weeks. But although the actual numbers were spot on for the week, but I didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't really in control of my thoughts, but I'm back. And I do think that gold is back, and the other 3 precious metals will follow as well. I think we're in for a bit of a rally.
Okay. Did you ever think...
Could be much of a rally, actually.
Well...
Could be a lot of a rally.
Over the 5,050...
Off we go.
Yeah, okay. And when you talk about a lot of a rally, much of a rally, just how much of a rally are you pointing towards? I always do this, I apologise, but I'm always interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, a fresh high of the year, 5,700. Yeah. It looks good. I mean, it had the correction. Yeah. It had the correction and it held. Okay.
Yeah.
There could be, with London and the Europe markets closed, there could be, as I say, there could still be some fresh weakness. But as I've got older, I've got more and more belief in the charts. Maybe because it's easier just to look at a picture. A picture paints 1,000 words. So, I look at those charts and I feel, this is looking good.
Well, it's always good to talk to people who are feeling positive. I'll tell you that. And I could do with a little bit of the infectious nature of that. What have I missed? What have I not asked you today that I should ask you? Because it seems as though in the last couple of weeks, we've seen... It feels like in the UAE that we are kind of paused because we're uncertain. We're waiting to see what's happening. And I feel as though... I don't know, precious metals to me haven't been as exciting or intricate, perhaps, as, a few months ago, at least.
No, you're absolutely right, Tim. But I think generally we're all in, everyone has hit the pause button.
Yeah.
We're waiting to see where the conflict goes. I'm personally very confident that we'll have an early resolution and we'll be back to business as usual. I do believe that. You mentioned the $1 billion injection into the economy in the UAE. It's fantastic. It really is. It really is, and it kind of, I'm British, but it makes me very proud to be here in this such a positive environment. So even when things are difficult, we have good things going on, and I do think that positivity, you will be infected by it, Tim. Don't worry. You'll sit down and you go, you know what, Jeff's right. We have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm very positive about the short term, medium, and long term aspects and opportunities for this country.
I've got to say,
I think it's really great.
I've got to say, I'm very much usually a person, the glass is half full, to be honest with you. I do, I try and think that way. And I think there is a certain power, and I for years I wasn't sure about this, but I think there is a power in thinking positively because it's better to be that way. It's pretty simple.
It feels better.
It does.
It feels better to be positive than negative. And I would say with my time difference problems over the last 2 weeks, I probably was in a bit of a funk myself.
Really?
But then, as I say, I had a good sleep, woke up. It's very clear in my mind that things can only get better, and they will get better. And certainly, I always feel better when gold's going up. It's
sure. That's the pattern of your
life. It gives me a degree. It is, yeah. I mean, so and Tim, we have a new manager as well.
I didn't want to bring this up because I wasn't sure how much of a, I didn't want to put the knife in at all to the Tottenham Hotspur aspect of things, Jeff. But I'm pleased for you.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the FA Cup? All right.
I've watched it.
And this is much more interesting. Did you watch it?
I did watch it. That was a game. And you're talking about West Ham United and Leeds United, I'm guessing. What a game that was. Yeah. For a neutral in that, and I'm obviously on the West Ham side, but for a neutral, what a game of football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tremendous.
So it's very good.
Do you know what?
And Spurs got their third manager of the year.
Yes.
Not bad.
Well, let's hope it's upwards from here. Who knows? Jeff, always good to talk to you. Will we get the pleasure of your company at the end of this week, perhaps?
I will. I will be bright and early. 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock Friday morning. We'll see you then.
Look forward to it. I shall bring the coffees.
I'm going to hold you to that. Jeff Rhodes is the MD for Business Development, Middle East and Asia at Monetary Metals. Always good to see you, Jeff. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Take care.
Appreciate it. This is Mira Business FM.